Hello, everybody. Hold on, let me turn on my cam. Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Storytime Quickie number 13 of the Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales. Today's story is going to be The Three Little Men in the Wood. Alright, but first things first. Get this broken chair out of the way. Shit, free feet. Oh, God. You guys didn't see that. All right. Oh, my dog came out of his cave. Holy shit. He's blessed us with his presence. Okay. How can you hear me from over here, chat? There you go. Oh, you guys can't even see. Oh. All right. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Hopefully, I'm not too far away from this microphone. I feel this is better lighting, probably. Yes. Oh, wow. This is way better lighting for me. Oh my. Holy moly. Dude, running is doing wonders to my thighs, man. All right. So let me start off with a couple of updates as well. Okay. So for now, it looks like quite possibly tomorrow I'll be trying to figure out what time I can start streaming. I'm not too sure. I might have to do a lot of errands during the day. Obviously, I think it's going to be a huge market run for the house tomorrow because we are completely drained of a lot of food. So we're probably going to do like a huge like visit tomorrow. You can probably catch me over there. Probably midday or something. So that should be fun. That'll be a pretty cool little field trip. Um, yeah, get ready. It's like fucking buying market for an entire fucking army. We spent so much money on the market, chat. You don't even fucking know. You don't even know, man. It's so much. But other than that, yeah, I'm gonna have to put hours in for work. Okay, so I missed a lot of hours this week. I might have to make it up next week during spring break. Just because it fucking it passed me by. Like literally, my hours were just like, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot to sign in. Even though I did them, I'm so pissed about that. But I'll be able to make it up next week for sure. What else? What else? What else? So I should be ordering my graphics card soon. I'm gonna be ordering a new one, probably by the end of this week. And I'm gonna be sending my old graphics card in for repairs. Hopefully, they give me money back instead of just like sending me a new one. But if I do end up getting another graphics card from EVGA, I might just end up building a second computer. Maybe I might sell it. Who knows? At this point, it's up in the air. I do know a couple people that do need computers at this point, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be gifting. I think I might just end up selling because I do probably need that cash for Anime Expo and rebuilding the car that I'm going to be getting from Lazy. So, from that I think that catches us up on a lot of updates. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get any episodes of Knowledge or No Lady today. I should be able to play a few tomorrow and Saturday. I did mention Saturday was going to be the big day when I was going to be playing a lot of games. So it's still up in the air. I might do a short stream on Friday. Um, it might be a short one because I have to catch up on a lot of work, homework, and stuff like that. But I know for sure a lot of the boys are going to be jumping on in the afternoon, so I'm definitely going to be gaming with them. So it's 50-50 if we're going to be jumping on. Saturday for sure, you guys will definitely catch me on there. I'm going to be streaming super early. maybe after my run, I think I might do a run on Saturday. It's probably best that I probably do a run because I don't have to do it on Sunday. Um, so yeah, after my run, so I'll probably be back maybe like around 11:30 ish from that run. Be able to start up stream and then have a pretty decent day of like going through all the regulars. I'll probably finish Knowledge or No Lady that day. I'll probably finish Jurassic Park. I'll try to get through a little bit of Liza P. And then I'll try to hit up Henry to see what he's up to. Maybe he might want to play something too. And then we might actually have Halo night also. And I am probably gonna finish off the night with the drinking stream. I have to get rid of these bottles, man. We got them for my birthday, and I just haven't had an opportunity to drink any of them. So I might pick up like a couple beers also, and we might have a drinking stream. Maybe we might play the Cuphead DLC. I'll have to hit up Henry about that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing the DLC with him, and we've been promising that for so long. So I should probably finish up editing that Cuphead video for YouTube. That way we can get started on the Cuphead DLC, which we already bought and paid for. It's already downloaded, so I mean it's just a matter of getting of finding out if Henry has the time to play it. But other than that, yeah, it should be pretty fun. All right, but let's get to it. I've already taken up 10 minutes of your guys' time with this recording. Uh, so let's get into today's story. Tale 13: The Three Little Men in the Wood. There was once a man whose wife died, and a woman whose husband died. And the man had a daughter, and the woman also had a daughter. The girls were acquainted with each other, and went out walking together, and afterwards came to the woman in her house. Then she said to the man's daughter, "Listen, tell your father that I would like to marry him. And then you shall wash yourself in milk every morning and drink wine. But my own daughter shall wash herself in water and drink water." The girl went home and told her father what the woman had said. The man said, "What shall I do? Marriage is a joy and also a torment." At length, as he could come to no decision, he pulled off his boot and said, "Take this boot. It has a hole in the sole of it. Go with it up to the loft, hang it on a big nail, and then pour water onto it. If it holds the water, then I will again take a wife, but if it runs through, I will not." The girl did as she was ordered, but the water drew the hole together, and the boot became full to the top. She informed her father how it had turned out. Then he himself went up, and when he saw that she was right, he went to the window and wooed her, and the wedding was celebrated. The next morning, when the two girls got up, there stood before the man's daughter milk for her to wash in and wine for her to drink. But the but before the woman's daughter stood water to wait wait. But before the man's daughter milk for wait, let's oh god, okay. The next morning, when the two girls got up, there stood before the man's daughter milk for her to wash in and wine for her to drink. But before the woman's daughter stood water to wash herself with and water for drinking. Wow, that is one hell of a sentence. On the second morning stood milk for washing and wine for drinking, but before the man's daughter as well as water before the woman's daughter. And on the third morning stood water for washing and water for drinking before the man's daughter, and milk for washing and wine for drinking before the woman's daughter. And so it continued. The woman became bitterly unkind to her stepdaughter, and day by day did her best to treat her still worse. She was also envious because her stepdaughter was beautiful and lovable, and her own daughter ugly and repulsive. Once, in winter, when everything was frozen as hard as stone, and hill and vale lay covered with snow, the woman made a frock of paper, called her stepdaughter, and said, "Here, put on this dress and go out into the wood and fetch me a little basketful of strawberries. I have a fancy for some." Oh god, no! Well, at least I got pee pads down there. All right. Oh god, that dog's getting too old. Good heavens, said the girl. No strawberries grow in winter. The ground is frozen, and besides, the snow has covered everything. And why am I to go in this paper frock? It is so cold outside that one's very breath freezes. The wind will blow through the frock, and the thorns will tear it off my body. Will you contradict me again? Said the stepmother. See that you go, and do not show your face again until you have a basket full of strawberries. Then she gave her a little piece of hard bread and said, this will last you the day, and thought, you will die of cold and hunger outside, and will never be seen again by me. Then the maiden was obedient, and put on the paper frock and went out with the basket. Far and wide there was nothing but snow, and not a green blade to be seen. When she got into the wood, she saw a small house out of which peeped 3 elves. She wished them good day, and knocked modestly at the door. Then they cried, come in, and she entered the room and seated herself on the bench by the stove, where she began to warm herself and eat her breakfast. The elves said, give us, too, some of it. Willingly, she said, and divided her bit of bread in two and gave them the half. They asked, what are you doing in the forest in the winter time? In your thin dress. Ah, she answered, I am to look for a basket full of strawberries, and am not to go home until I can take them with me. When she had eaten her bread, they gave her a broom and said, sweep away the snow at the back door with it. But when she was outside, the 3 little men said to each other, what shall we give her, as she is so good, and she shared her bread with us? Then said the first, my gift is that she shall every day grow more beautiful. The second said, my gift is that gold pieces shall fall out of her mouth every time she speaks. The third said, my gift is that a king shall come and take her as wife. The girl, however, did as the little men had bidden her, swept away the snow behind the little house with the broom, and what did she find but real ripe strawberries, which came up quite dark red out of the snow. In her joy she hastily gathered her basketful, thanked the little men, shook hands with each of them, and ran home to take her stepmother what she had longed for so much. When she went in and said good evening, a piece of gold at once fell from her mouth. Thereupon she related what had happened to her in the wood. But with every word she spoke, gold pieces fell out of her mouth, until very soon the whole room was covered with it. Now look at her arrogance, cried the sister, to throw about gold in that way. But she was secretly envious of it, and wanted to go into the forest also to seek strawberries. The mother said, no, my dear little daughter, it is too cold. You might die of cold. However, as her daughter let her have no peace, the mother at last yielded, made her a magnificent dress of fur, which she was obliged to put on, and gave her bread and butter and cake to take with her. The girl went into the forest and straight up to the little house. The 3 little elves peeped out again, but she did not greet them, and without looking round at them, and without speaking to them, she went awkwardly into the room, seated herself by the stove, and began to eat her bread and butter and cake. Give us some of it, cried the little men. And she replied, there is not enough for myself, so how can I give it away to other people? When she had finished eating, they said, there is a broom for you. Sweep all clean for us outside by the back door. Hm, sweep for yourself, she answered. I am not your servant. When she saw that they were not going to give her anything, she went out by the door. Then the little men said to each other, what shall we give her, as she is so naughty, and has a wicked envious heart, that will never let her do a good deed for anyone? The first said, I shall grant that she may grow uglier every day. The second said, I grant that every word she says, a toad shall spring out of her mouth. The third said, I grant that she may die a miserable death. The maiden looked for strawberries outside, but as she found none, she went angrily home. And when she opened her mouth and what was about to tell her mother what had happened to her in the wood, with every word she said, a toad sprang out of her mouth, so that everyone was seized with horror of her. Then the stepmother was still more enraged, and thought of nothing but how to do every possible injury to the man's daughter, whose beauty, however, grew daily greater. At length she took a cauldron, set it on the fire, and boiled yarn in it. When it was boiled, she flung it on the poor girl's shoulder, and gave her an axe in order that she might go on the frozen river, cut a hole in the ice, and rinse the yarn. She was obedient, went and cut a hole in the ice, and while she was in the midst of her cutting, a splendid carriage came driving up, in which sat the king. The carriage stopped, and the king asked, "My child, who are you, and what are you doing here?" "I am a poor girl, and I am rinsing yarn." Then the king felt compassion, and when he saw that she was so very beautiful, he said to her, "Will you go away with me?" "Ah, yes, with all my heart," she answered, for she was glad to get away from the mother and sister. So she got into the carriage and drove away with the king. And when they arrived at his palace, the wedding was celebrated with great pomp, as the little men had granted to the maiden. When a year was over, the young queen bore a son, and as the stepmother had heard of her great good fortune, she came with her daughter to the palace and pretended that she wanted to pay her a visit. Once, however, the king had gone out, and no one else was present. The wicked woman seized the queen by the head, and her daughter seized her by the feet, and they lifted her out of the bed, and threw her out the window into the stream which flowed by. Then the ugly daughter laid herself in the bed, and the old woman covered her up over her head. When the king came home again and wanted to speak to his wife, the old woman cried, "Hush, hush! That can't be now. She is lying in a violent perspiration. You must let her rest today." The king suspected no evil, and did not come back again till next morning. And as he talked with his wife and she answered him, with every word a toad leaped out, whereas formerly a piece of gold had fallen out. Then he asked what that could be. But the old woman said that she had got that from a violent perspiration, and would soon lose it again. During the night, however, the kitchen boy saw a duck come swimming up the gutter, and it said, "King, what are you doing? Are you awake or slumbering?" And as he returned no answer, it said, "And my guests, what about them?" The kitchen boy said, "They are sleeping soundly too." Then it asked again, "What of my little baby mine?" He answered, "Asleep in her cradle." Then she went upstairs in the form of the queen, nursed the baby, took up its little bed, covered it over, and then swam away again down the gutter. In the shape of a duck. She came thus for 2 nights. On the third, she said to the kitchen boy, "Go and tell the king to take his sword and swing it 3 times over me on the threshold." Then the kitchen boy ran and told this to the king, who came with his sword and swung it thrice over the spirit. And at the third time his wife stood before him strong, alive, and as healthy as she had been before. At this the king was full of great joy, but he kept the queen hidden in a chamber until the Sunday when the baby was to be christened. And when it was christened, he said, "What does a person deserve who drags another out of bed and throws him in the water?" "The wretch deserves nothing better," answered the old woman, "than to be taken and put in a barrel stuck full of nails and rolled downhill into the water." Then said the king, "You have pronounced your own sentence." And he ordered such a barrel to be brought, and the old woman was to be put into it with her daughter. And then the top was hammered on, and the barrel rolled downhill until it went into the river. Huh. Very, very interesting. It reminds me a lot of Snow White. A lot of Snow White. Even though they don't have the seven dwarfs, they have three elves in this one. They have the king that comes to save the fair maiden, still, and they have the evil stepmother. Super, super interesting. In this one, there's only one evil daughter, though, evil stepdaughter. Even though in Cinderella, I think there was two or three, right? I think something like that. I forget. It's been a long time since I watched that Disney movie. Um, so yeah, that concludes tale number 13, which was The Three Little Men in the Wood. Thank you for tuning in for this episode of Storytime Quickies number 13. 13, right? Yeah, 13. So this was just a quickie. If you're watching from YouTube, please hit that like, subscribe down below. And if you like, leave a comment to how much you liked or disliked the stories, this and that. Your input matters quite a bit. I'll take a look at it. And it helps with the algorithms as well. If you're watching from Twitch, please hit the follow button down below and make sure the notification button is on. It lets you know when I'm going live. I mostly post on Twitter when I'm going to be doing these or when I'm going live. I try my best to keep consistent and I'm still getting used to it. But as of right now, a lot of these story times are taking place in the afternoon around 10, 10:30, sometimes 9, 9:30. So keep an eye out for that. It's usually around bedtime, when you guys are all going to bed, getting your blankies. So that concludes for today's story. Thank you so much to everybody that participated and watched. And again, as always, my outro. Don't be a stranger. Bye. I'll catch you guys later. Maybe I'll see you on runs or at the gym. Oh, yeah, I am going to be at the gym tomorrow. So no running tomorrow. So that's why Saturday is going to be the run day. But I will probably catch you guys later. Peace.